Today we're going to learn the basics of editing, and you're going to need to open up Adobe Photoshop and Adobe Bridge. You can do this by typing the word Photoshop or the word Bridge into the start bar at the bottom left hand corner of your screen. This is what Bridge looks like. The first thing you'll need to do is click on this PC and then go to temp storage, because that's where I've saved your images. Then we'll click on Miss Ensor, then on Year 10, then on Photos, and then you'll need to find your images. I've just chosen these ones at random, that's what I'll be editing today. Now once you've found the image you want to edit, you need to right click it and then go to Open With and select Adobe Photoshop, and it'll open just like this. Now you see the red circle on the right hand side of the screen. You need to click that icon because that is for a levels layer. Now levels can control how much black, white or in between tones we've got in your image, and you can control that by sliding them. So see how the picture changes as I use each slider. Have a play around with that on your own image and decide what looks best for you. Next up is a hue and saturation layer. I've circled it again for you, still on the right hand side of the screen. And saturation is how intense a colour is. So play around with that saturation slider now. You can go all the way from black and white, all the way up to way too intense, but see what looks best for your image. Alternatively, if you know that you definitely don't want any colour in your image, you want it to be completely black and white, I recommend the black and white icon instead, where you can control which colours within that image are lighter or darkest. So even though it's a black and white image, the bits that used to be red, how dark do you want them? How dark do you want the yellow areas? You've got a lot more control using this rather than your hue and saturation layer if you want it to be black and white. And a further challenge for here, if we have a closer look at our layers, you'll see that each one has a white rectangle next to it. And that is called a layer mask. Make sure you clicked on that white square for your black and white layer, and then select the brush tool, which is circled on the left, and then use the drop down menu, which is slightly above. I've circled that for you too. And we need to make sure that the hardness is on 0. You'll need to play around with your size because it depends on your image how big a brush you will need. But what you're going to do is draw with a black paintbrush, and while you've got that layer mask selected, if you draw on it with a black paintbrush, it stops that layer adjustment from working, so it gets rid of that black and white filter or that black and white effect, so I can bring back the green of the leaf. This is called selective colour, and you can add a bit more interest to your images, so there's a challenge for you to try as well. It's also worth mentioning that if you make a mistake, you can use a white paintbrush and it works a bit like a rubber, and you can get rid of the black paint that you put down. And finally, we need to save our first edits ever in Photoshop, so you need to press File and then Save As. Then this window will open. You'll need to click on this PC and then temp storage, find my name, Miss Ensor, then click on Year 10, then Photos, find the folder that your images are saved into, and we're going to name it your name, so I've put Miss Ensor and then Edit 1, and then underneath I need to change the file type from a PSD to a JPEG. PSD is just a Photoshop file, we don't need to worry about those yet. Press Save, then press OK, and you are done.